Yo, what's going on, your boy Ghost here, and today I'm bringing you guys another comparison video between the Groza and Mac-10. Now, I'm not going to lie, this comparison is a little bit random. Not because of the Groza, but actually the SMG, I decided to compare the Groza to, because to be honest, I didn't really know what gun I could compare the Groza to in the SMG category. But I know, or I knew that I needed to make this Groza video because this Groza is a weapon that everybody is sleeping on. And this weapon is literally, in my opinion, one of the best secondary options in the game at the moment. Now, that may not mean a lot to some people because, again, this game is kind of like, right now, in a very tough spot. And the new SMG just came out. But, I don't know, I feel like the Groza should be getting a little bit more attention. I will talk about in this video why maybe it's not getting attention, but I would also try to convince you guys why you should give it a chance. Because this weapon is... That's amazing, and yeah, man. But before we get into it, I want to say, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We just hit 1.82K, so we're about 180 subs away from 2,000. So if you help a brother out, hit that sub button, be greatly appreciated. And also, if you wouldn't mind, go follow me on my Twitch channel. We've been streaming, just going crazy for like the last 2 weeks, just streaming every day, grinding. So if you guys want to see me live stream, you head over there. With that being said, man, let's get into the comparison. And here we have the recoil pattern for the Groza, and as you guys can see, it isn't too crazy, but I think the one thing that kind of turns people away from this weapon is the iron sight, and for me, it did for some time, and I gotta be honest, this time around when I used the Groza, I totally forgot that people had a problem with the iron sight, and even I had forgot that the iron sight wasn't the best, but for some reason, I just kind of went through it, and it didn't really hit me until, me making this video. But this weapon, bro, this gun is... it was incredible. It's just, I will say that it is obviously not gonna have the traditional SMG feel. I think in terms of like any AR that could be a secondary, this weapon is probably on the upper scale because the mobility is nothing too crazy. It's a little bit clunky, a little bit slow, but nothing compared to like a Craig or C50 or any of the ARs that you use as your primary. And the only other thing that I gotta say negative about this is the ADS speed. Now, I could have maybe changed my rear grip. I could have maybe, instead of using the rear grip, used a stock. But I don't know. It was working for me, and I didn't really see a need to change it. But for you guys, the ADS might be a little bit slower. So maybe you might end up taking something off. Maybe you took off the underbarrel or something. Just anything that'll make it slightly faster for some of you people out there. And I would definitely recommend, if you feel like it's too slow, and currently the way I built it, then by all means, if you can find a setup that's faster and works for you and still as effective as my gun, go for it, because that's all that really matters. But yeah, man, like, to be honest, I think I want to make this comparison specifically between against the Mac-10, because the Mac-10 is a weapon that is fast and fire rate and in theory kills really fast. And the Groza, man, this Groza was literally surprising me in some of the gunfights that I was winning. Because this weapon, bro, like, it's an AR at the end of the day. And so it has that range capabilities. And the damage drop is AR damage drop, whereas the SMG damage drop, it starts to get kind of wonky at the range. But for Groza, it's an SMG. Or, my bad, I apologize. It's an AR turned SMG. And this is literally a hybrid weapon. Because, not many people use this. I don't think anyone really ever uses this weapon as a primary. Like, I don't remember this weapon ever being, like, a weapon that was, oh yeah, you should be able to cross the map with it, you know what I'm saying, being used as a primary. Like, I never really saw that. All the time that the Groza was talked about, it was because it was a secondary. And actually, the way this video came about was because my friend, he was using a Groza, and, as a primary, but it wasn't really, like, working too great for him, and I was like, yo, use it as an SMG, and then he came up with the class, and then boom. So I actually gotta give a shout out to my boy, because he essentially inspired this video, because he showed me the way of how the Groza was frying. And in just a little bit, we're going to get into the statistics so you guys can get a better understanding of why this gun feels so dominant, or is dominant. And with that being said, man, let's just get into the statistics / the Mac-10. Here we have the recoil pattern for the Mac-10, and as you can see, very similar to the Groza. Both of them are actually, I would say, very similar in like recoil control and just range, but I think the Groza slightly has the edge on the range game because it's an AR and the damage over range is a lot better than the Mac-10s. But both of the weapons very solid at range. I would personally put the Groza over the Mac-10 though, because of what I've been able to do with it. And yeah, we're gonna get to statistics in a little bit, but I gotta say, man, the Groza stats doesn't really make it call out that, oh, this is an insane weapon. It looks good, but statistically it doesn't look godly, which is kind of surprising to me because the way I was shooting with them, bro, the stats feel like to me they're lying to me. But you know, obviously stats are stats. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So anyways, actually, just starting off with the first stat, we're going to talk about the fire rate, which if you guys have been paying attention to any Mac comparisons in the last few weeks and you've seen any Mac-10 comparison, you will know that this stat is the one that the Mac-10 dominates every weapon in because the Mac-10's fire rate sits at a 1,118 RPM, whereas the Groza stands at a 754 RPM, which is about a 350, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. I don't really know how to do math right now. In terms of difference in fire rate, which is insane, just insane. Like, I don't know that many weapons that come within 200 RPM difference of the Mac-10, so this being a 350, like, this is crazy. And more than likely at close range you're gonna lose against a Mac-10 if you're using a Groza. Now maybe with its high fire rate, some people might not be able to control it sometimes at close range. Maybe you get lucky and the person you go up against is, you know, not really shooting 100% accurately, and your Groza will just be able to out damage it. But that again is all situational, and that really just plays on how you're fighting somebody, and there's a lot of like possibilities that can occur in those types of situations. But anyways, moving on to the damage, this gets where it gets a little interesting for the Groza. But starting off with the Mac-10 from 0 to 15.5 meters, the headshot damage is 27, the chest and stomach is 23, and the extremities is 20. Now moving over to the Groza, for 0 to 30 meters, it is 40 damage to the head, which is a significant difference to the Mac-10, 28 and 27 for the stomach and chest, which is like about a 3-bullet difference to the Mac-10, and then 27 to the extremities, which is, you know, hands, or the limbs. I don't know if I mentioned a little bit earlier, it's the extremities or limbs. And to be honest, the one surprising thing about the Groza having 27 damage to the extremities is the fact that I don't normally see weapons that share the same damage in the arms and legs as like chest and stomach. Now, you might be able to direct me to a weapon that does that, but out of all those statistics that I've seen, I can't really recall a weapon that has the same damage on hands and or just limbs in general. Just because when you shoot the limbs, you know, you're expecting the damage drop off. You're expecting it to do obvious less damage than when you're shooting a stomach or chest. But for the Groza, it seems that's not the case, which is actually, in my opinion, a very big advantage. If some weapons had this, they would become literally unstoppable. Now, that may seem like an insignificant thing to you guys, but trust me, I feel like that's more significant than many people are aware of. Because when you're in a gunfight, you know, obviously your goal is to shoot, like, your process wants to be, like, around the chest, the upper chest, not the chest, my bad, the stomach, upper chest, and then potentially the head, but, you know, something doesn't go out the way you want it to work, and you end up maybe shooting the leg or the arms, depending on how you get in certain situations, and, you know what I'm saying, I think it having 27 damage to those is pretty significant, and clearly has an advantage over the Mac-10 damage, but, again, the Mac-10 has the fire rate advantage and mobility advantage, which are actually two very significant things. But I think with the fire rate and damage, that's like a whole different like level of versus each other. Because my ideology behind that is, and you guys have probably heard this if you've been watching my videos, but you know, at close range, I think that's where being quicker matters, which means, you know, faster fire rate and mobility. And then for long range, it's all about just accuracy and damage, which I think the Groza has. And so I think both of them naturally are going to be better in their respective categories. So, you know, Groza range, Mac-10 close range. But it's not to say that both of them can't, you know, coexist with each other in the other realm. So, you know, the Groza may have a disadvantage at close range, but again, depending on the situation, you're going to be able to sometimes squeeze out the victory against a Mac-10. I mean, hell, I was squeezing out victories against other SMGs, so it's not like it's an unheard thing of it. Same with the Mac-10. Just because the Groza has more damage at range doesn't mean that Mac-10 can get it done. It just really depends on you as a player and the scenario that you're in. But anyways, man, this Groza is a weapon that I feel like should, you know, again, should get more attention. I'm hoping that this video has kind of opened your eyes a little bit to how good this Groza could be. And the Mac-10, I don't need to keep gassing it up. Everyone knows it. It's literally like one of the more reliable weapons. Has been in the meta for some time, or at least talked about for a while now. So I don't really think I need to go too crazy about it. But yeah, man, curious to see how you guys rate this Groza. Because again, I think the Groza is really good. There's a little bit more attention, and yeah. But also a little interesting thing, a little side note. The new SMG that just came out, bro. Gotta be patient with me a little bit. I don't know when that video with the new SMG is gonna come out. I forgot the name of it already. But I'm striving to make a comparison for that gun compared to the Mac-10 because I saw some interesting statistics about it. Apparently that new SMG has like a 1,000 RPM, which is very, very interesting. And if it has a little bit more damage than the Mac-10, we could have a very interesting conversation on our hands, you know. I just gotta get leveled up. Are you unlocked it? Just gotta get leveled up. And yeah, man, I guess that's really about it. I don't need to be just babbling on and on and on, but here we are at the end of the video. But yeah, with that being said, let me know what you guys think about the Groza. Do you guys think it could become, I guess, a type of meta in this current landscape of Warzone? And if you guys do or have used the Groza or have your own personal opinions on the Groza, let me know where you rank it in secondaries. Because I personally have it top 5 because it just, the damage is just, I can't resist the damage. It's really good. But for some of you guys, it might not just be about the damage. You might have your own flaws with it, and that's okay. But again, man, let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll take this later. Peace.
We're not all here.